Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. And for those who are watching or will be watching us from a different time zone, good morning or good evening, wherever you are. And of course, for the purpose of those who are new in this platform or who've just seen us for the first time, my name is Marilyn. I'm the CEO and founder of Customized Training Solutions or CTS Private Limited. And we are always passionate about helping leaders and organizations who are continuous learners and action takers to transform and thrive in all aspects by co creating, contextualizing, and customizing programs with our world class resources. We have served over 3,000 leaders from over 30 countries in different industries, including Petronas, Sony Mobile, ProLife UK, Ayala Group, Tencent, Jollibee Foods Corporation, Carelon, and Shell, to name a few. And the reason why we are organizing several interventions, including this interview, is because we would like to help leaders who don't know how to stay relevant and adapt to the next normal, those who find it stressful to lead and ensure performance of a hybrid team, and for those who are afraid that they can't keep their team or their business. And so, to be able to stay relevant and continue to lead effectively or more effectively in any situation, join us in these interventions. And today, my date, and it's a great pleasure for me to introduce our leader for today. Joy Leng is an electrifying trainer in the world of positive psychology and organizational leadership. With her deep understanding of character strengths, resilience, and self compassion, she has been instrumental in empowering numerous leaders and teams in multinational companies to unleash their inner superpower. Her expertise is tapping into strengths such as bravery, leadership, and creativity, makes her workshop not only educational but truly exhilarating. Participants have been known to be moved to tears during the discovery of their own unique strengths and bonding that takes place among the teams during her training, and it's nothing short of remarkable. So she is truly a superpower activator, and her passion for her work is contagious, leaving everyone who attends her workshop feeling inspired, motivated, and ready to take on the world. So, without so much further ado, I'm sure you got excited with that introduction. I'd like to welcome Joy. Hi, Joy.
Hi, Marilyn. Thanks for having me. It's good to be your Valentine's date.
Yes, it's my pleasure, and I'm glad to be your Valentine's date as well. And I look forward to add value to our audience today, as well as to those who will be watching us on a replay. And just to let them know, it's not our first time to do something together. We've actually organized something. Was that 1 or 2 years ago already, which is on women empowerment, something
hmm
very close to my heart. And we decided to have like three beautiful ladies, not only beautiful but very smart, I would say, and that's one of you. And that's when I first really get to meet you on Zoom generally. But we've been connected, I think, on LinkedIn and other social media platforms. So, and I'm really glad that we're here together on Valentine's Day today, and also. I would like, before we start, I'd like to invite our audience to join us in this conversation. This is not about me and Joy or just a conversation interview between us, but we would be glad to have you join us, ask your questions, give us your feedback, give us your take on this conversation. So,
Mm.
without so much further ado, I'd like you to share with us your leadership experiences. If you do have like favorite influencers, a favorite leadership style, uh, or those who influence you, feel free to share with us.
Thanks, Marilyn. So, when it comes to leaders that I admire, I have to say
Mhm.
one of the leader that I deeply admire is Maya Angelou, right? Because
Mhm.
she has such a feisty spirit, and
Mhm.
she empowers people through her very fierce essence. So she's
Mhm.
very unique and extraordinary to me. And there's something about her essence that sets you on fire, and you want to do the same thing with the same amount of passion that she is doing. So that is truly a clear sign of a leader. She doesn't have to instruct you; you just want to follow her. But all of this also comes from the singular important element. And I think that is because she gives herself full permission
Mhm.
to be herself, to be authentic. And she embraced all of herself. She celebrates the fact that she loved poems, she loved dancing,
Mhm.
she loves singing. So she really embraced herself, all of life, and what life has to offer. So I feel
Mhm.
like she truly kick ass, and I really want to like follow her lead. And her magnetic force is such that you cannot help yourself, but you want to be part of her superpower
Mhm.
team. So
Mhm.
to me, that is one leader. The other one would be Oprah Winfrey.
Mhm.
Maya Angelou was actually her mentor, and so it's quite evident in the way Oprah Winfrey shows up in her life
Mhm.
that is that the influences from Maya Angelou comes forth. And I think
Mhm.
both of them have been abused, and they've been through really tremendous hardship, pretty
Mhm.
much all by themselves. And yet, instead of being bitter and giving up on life, giving up on people, you will notice from both of them that they love themselves unconditionally, and that overflows in how they love others and in the passion that they have in doing things and the way they live their life. So, I think the unconditional love that they had become a compelling force in all that they do. And self love is like the Midas touch that they have, and it really brings magic to everything that they do. And given that today is Valentine's Day,
Mhm.
so I would like to gently remind everyone and to remind myself as well that, Valentine is
Mhm.
within our heart, and we are our first Valentine. So love yourself. Don't wait for others to love you. Do
Mhm.
unto yourself what you want to do, what you want others to do unto you.
Wow, that's really a beautiful message. Because a lot of I remember having that question, um, in one of the presentation I did, and she asked like, so as a leader, can we actually like have like a rest as well or holiday as well? And I said, of course, and that's part of loving ourselves, like what you've said, right? It's really like loving ourselves first
Mm,
in order for us to love others as well, right? And
yes.
having that, like what you've said, not only self love, but um having that unconditional love to permeate to everyone that
Mm,
you in every lives, in every community, every person that you touch along the way, right? And
yes.
that's what real love is. So I'm really glad that you reminded our audience about the importance of self-love, whether you're a leader or not. It's really important that you love yourself, because loving yourself means that you are actually expressing yourself, living your purpose, and being really there for
Yes.
anyone who you
Yes.
actually y- you actually touch or be with, because it's really important. I mean, that's authenticity for you for you, I would say, right? um
Yes.
so having said that, from your share, did you have any corporate experiences or any like other, because you've been actually, I know that you've been servicing multinational companies from the introduction. Have you experienced also working in the corporate world before you actually started your own um, consulting and training speaking
Mm.
engagements?
Yes, I've done, before I went into positive psychology, I've done all sorts of, work. I've been in marketing and so on. And in fact, I've been with one of the top inspirational company in Singapore, Success Resources, that bring all the inspirational gurus to Singapore. So my learning curve and my interest in self development started very young, because Success Resources were literally one of the first company I joined as someone with a pure and young mind. So it really started from there. And one of the reasons why I'm passionate about bringing up self love, which, yes, I know
Mhm.
that's not a topic that you normally bring up for positive organizational change, but
Mhm.
I think that it's a piece of conversation that needs to start showing up, and it needs
Mhm.
to start coming into the conversation in the corporate setting. Without this
Exactly.
self love piece, then everything you do is very mechanic and you're just doing. But as I always like to say, self care is the new superpower, because with the pandemic,
Exactly.
everyone's mental health is suffering. What leader, you have to take care of yourself first. So when you do that, you are also allowing your the people that you
Mhm.
lead to take permission to take care of themselves. If your the well-being of your people are not put in first place, and you're
Mhm.
not taking the lead, showing the example, what performance do you want from there? What ROI do you? These are just bombastic words, because you are leading people, and people, then well-being is paramount. So start with yourself.
Exactly. And that's what we always advocate in these conversations I had, like really having self leadership, self love, because it's kind of difficult to lead others if you don't know how to lead yourself generally, right?
Yes.
So that leads me to my next question. I appreciate you share with us success resources also opened up a lot of like mindset shifts and like the business itself. That's why I'm in training, because of the programs that they have been organizing in Singapore basically. So thank you for sharing that. And so having said that, those experiences and your perspective around this around leadership, what is leadership for you?
So um, Oxford Dictionary actually defines leadership as the action of leading a group of people or an organization. To
Mhm.
me, that is too simplistic. And also, I beg to differ, because in this definition, the focus is on the action, the doing. But
Mhm.
as I mentioned earlier, I think the focus should be on the person, the people involved in the doing. So showing
Mhm.
up from the part of being, rather than just doing for the sake of doing, or because I need to do this. This is my ROI, and this is what this is sales target I need to hit. So I believe that as a leader, what I would like to suggest is they are like the four factors that you can focus on in order
Mhm.
to be a leader. And the first one is fierce. Fierce,
Mhm.
as in like being fierce in your commitment. Like, think Maya Angelou, what is the energy you get from her? She's just fierce. She's fierce in her commitment. She's fierce in her conviction to the vision that she has in her mind, and to her people, to the people she's reaching out to. So as a leader, you have to be all in. You have to fully believe in the company's vision with all that you are doing, with all of your being. So
Mhm.
no, notice what I say, not doing, because the doing is a natural extension of your being when you believe in a
Mhm.
company's vision. And the doing will be so effective when it comes from your being, where you actually believe in the vision and what's going on. You also have to be fully committed to your people. So the fierceness is also with regards to commitment to your people,
Mhm.
commitment to their well-being, because without your people there is no leader. You are no leader, you're just one person. You have nobody to lead. So love your people and work with your people. Understand what are their top strengths, their character strengths, their prevalent strengths, what are their skill set, and then you want to mold the company's vision around their superpower. So that's the first factor. I think the second factor is we have to be focused, and it works hand in hand with the first factor, fear, being
Mhm.
fierce and committed. But you need to be focused, and you need to be obsessed with what's best about your people, because as
Mhm.
humans, we are negatively wired by mother nature in the name of survivor. But here, when it comes to companies, we're talking about performance. We want to be number one. We want to have high ROI. Then you need to be obsessed with what's best about your people, how to tap on their superpowers to inspire them to be their best and their stronger self, allowing them to be creative, and getting them to focus their strengths around the goals and the vision of the company. And then the third factor is, okay, I know it's not a usual word again that you use in organizational culture, shameless. You cannot be a leader and lead an organization when you have fear in your heart, because fear and leader, they don't come together, isn't it? So you do have to be a brave heart, and that I think would mean you have to be shameless, like even if you're introvert, which I am. But you just have to show up, and that means you have to be shameless, you have to be out there, you have to be all
Mhm.
out, because all your people are watching you, and your energy is contagious whether you're all in or not. They know, they can sense it. So you, as the leader, you have to walk the baptism of fire every
Mhm.
day. That is why you are the leader in organization. So you have to get up every day, stand proud, and be shameless in pursuing what is needed for the company's vision. So naturally, you can see you are being also supported by the first two factor. You have to be fierce, you have to be focused. So there is a synergy with all these factors. And last but not least, you have to be loveful. Loveful as in Lovefur. Sorry, FUL. Need more copy. So you have to be loveful. Like being a leader is hard work. I don't have to tell you that because you have to do that every day, right? So trying to manage people, let's face it, it can be hell. Sometimes people are like, they can be a challenge. So be full of love. I think that is the antidote. So here, I think start with yourself first. Love yourself. Acknowledge your effort. Sometimes you're trying as a leader, it's not working. Acknowledge your own effort. Lick your wounds and be your own best friend. Get up and try again. So start by loving yourself. And then, of course, also love your people. Most people, I would imagine, in their right mind, will be trying their best, but
Mhm.
nobody wants to lose their job, and nobody wants to fail. Nobody wants the company they work for to collapse, right? So everybody is trying. And so love your people, support them, even when they might come across as they are not pulling their weight. See
Mhm.
what resources is it that they are lacking. You are their leader. It is your job to back them up, and it is your choice to love them. So be loveful. So for me, if you want to be an effective and inspiring leader, you need to have these four factors: be fierce, be focused, be shameless, and be loveful.
That's very interesting definition, I would say. Like, I think this is like something new for not only me but for also our listeners, right? This is the first time I've heard these four things. I mean, be fierce, be focused. I guess I've been hearing that a lot, but being shameless and loveful is something that you don't usually hear in a corporate setting. But again, like, I really appreciate you not only sharing this but actually explaining to us what do you mean by
Mm,
shameless. It's really being able to show up in your best foot forward as a
mm,
leader, and being there for your people. And most importantly, I think this is also something that not a lot of times doesn't come out in conversations. It's really
mm.
being loveful, right? Because when you come from the space of love, you can't go wrong with it, I would say, right? Yes. So thank you for defining that I mean, that beautiful and full of love with fears definition of leadership. So thank you for that. And before I ask the next question, I'd like to thank you, Dr. Otanes. Hello, thank you for joining us live today. Loving your people. Few leaders
Hi,
believe can
Fred.
do this. I know a turnaround leader who practices this as a way of to succeed in the business. Thank you so much for sharing that insight. And again, like, we don't see that much, but I have heard this several times even before our summit. I had one speaker who actually spoke about compassionate leadership, and we especially need
Mm,
it now more than ever, I would say.
yes.
Now that there's a lot of things going on in the world, if we just
Mm.
come from that energy of love and we work together, I don't think there's nothing difficult. I mean, there's anything difficult for us to be able to solve. And hello, Kit Kat, thank you for joining us live
Hi.
today. So yeah, I mean, in my introduction earlier as well, and this is why I also said, like, at this time, this is so critical for us to be mindful of having enough or much love for us to for people and others, in order for us to lead more effectively. In my introduction earlier, I've made mention about new normal, and so I'm curious to know, how would you define or describe new normal?
Okay, so this word gets thrown around the last few months, the new normal, right? So I
Mhm,
don't know what is the next normal or what it means to anyone or the new normal. All I know
mhm.
is I don't want to live in the next normal. I consider it a blessing to even be still alive, given all that has transpired. So I don't know how much time I have left. And for me, every single second is a gift. So moving forward, at least for myself, I don't want to live in the next normal. I want
Mhm,
to live it in the spectacular now. So the question that I prefer to ask myself would
mhm.
be, how do I live in the new extraordinary? So
Wow.
how do I level up? What gives me joy in my work? How can I do more of that? Is that a conversation that I should have with my bosses or with the HR? How do I want to be extraordinary in my work? And what are my strengths, inner and outer, that can enable me to live in the new extraordinary than in the new normal, right? So
Mhm,
answer
mhm,
these questions, and then you will naturally know what to do, where to go, and who to become. I cannot answer that for you. I don't think anyone should be answering that for you, to be honest. I think you
mhm,
need to follow your own heart's wisdom, and it's really a important self-reflection piece. It's like
mhm,
being in a matrix, right? Both pills are available to you in real
mhm,
time, right? The blue one and the red one. So your call, your choice. So do you want to live in the new normal, or do you want to live in the new extraordinary? There is no right or wrong, but take full responsibility for your choices. So I don't know about new normal. I'm in the new extraordinary.
Wow, I this is the first time I heard that, new extraordinary. And again, it's always our choice, right? I really appreciate you reminding us about there's I've heard several times that there's no such thing as new normal, because changes happens on a daily basis, basically, right? Or probably even every second. So and it's really about embracing the now. As you said, it's really like leaving the now, the present, and choosing to be extraordinary for
Yes.
yourself
Yes.
and
I
for
mean,
the
who
people
wants to be
around you.
normal? Just saying that alone. I mean, like Marilyn, like just saying that alone, living the new normal, does it sound depressing to you? I'm like, why would I want to be normal or live in a normal? I want my life to be exciting, right? So I cannot resonate with that. But it's okay if you can. All good, right? It's your life. You have to make it count. Just because people are living the new normal doesn't mean you have to follow the crowd. It's your life, right? So there's no right or wrong.
Yeah, and that's the good thing, right? We can live our lives based on the choices that we choose, right? We can actually opt to and make choices for our life. It's nothing. There's no, again, like what you've said. There's no right and wrong, right? Um,
Yes.
if it's the right choice for you, then it's the right choice, right?
Yes.
For you, all have our own journey to take, and sometimes, even if the choices is not the best for others, but you feel that's the best choice for you. But again, um in closing to that is to be reminded as well to take full responsibility of those choices that you make, right?
Yes.
Because it's
Yes.
not really just making that choice, but taking full responsibility of those choices that you make, not only
Mm.
for yourself but of course the people, especially if you're a leader, there will be
Yes.
definitely an impact to other people as
Yes.
well around you, right? So
Yes.
thank you for this
In
important.
fact, I think it might be a fun conversation to have with your people, right? Ask them, uh, where would you want to be? Do you want to be in the new normal, or do you want to be, in the extraordinary new space? And there is no right or wrong, but I think that will give you a very good sense. Where is your people? Are they looking for safety? I would imagine if you want to stay in the new normal, that means like you're still feeling very unsafe, right? So I think that will be very revealing to you. How many percent in your team, company wants to stay in a normal, and how many is ready to be extraordinary, and that will give you clues. What is it that you as a leader need to support them? Maybe there's some scaffolding experiences that they need, or maybe there's not enough psychological safety. Like, and then you have if let's say you realize the majority of your staff is in the new normal, and then you're like so excited. Oh, I want to live in the extraordinary. Now you're there alone. You're not a leader. You have to either you have to figure a way how to bring your people with you, right?
Mhm,
So,
mhm,
and then it give you a very good sense of what is needed right now, what kind of support my people
mhm,
need right now, instead of like, oh, I'm so inspired, I heard this thing on this
mhm,
podcast, now I'm going to go to my company, I'm going to force this extraordinary new thing on my staff. So you also need to can use this as an exercise that can
mhm,
tell you where your people is, and I think that would be very exciting.
mhm. Yeah, that's very true. And in fact, in one of the resources I have, which is my leadership and organizational development package that I have created, right? I have included several things. I mean, we've been talking about mindset, compassion, which is the heart that I would say, and well being a lot. This is the
Mm,
first part of the core development program that they needed in their organization in order to have, what you have been mentioning around psychological safety, ensuring that not only the leaders, but also the team has the right health, well-being, mental health, whatever it is. So
mm,
and before you can even reinforce the skills on leadership and other functional or continuous learning that you can actually share with a team, right? I'm just sharing that just to probably somehow summarize or reinforce this. I have been receiving requests also to share some images along the way. So there you go. So and Kit, Marie Kit is also asking you if you can add you on LinkedIn. Definitely, I have tagged you right in this conversation. And, yeah, more power to
Thank
the
you,
to
doctor.
Joy.
Thank
And
you, Fred.
and Kit Kat was sharing correct. I guess that's like when you actually shared around like the importance of having a love and taking care of your team in order to to be able to like have to do and to become as well, right? And because
Yes,
the
it's a
profit and
being
all,
piece.
yeah, true, true. I mean, for you to be able to have those, sustainability, continuous revenue, and all those stuff, you have to be, and the team has to be as well, right? Everything
Mm,
must follow as well. So I'm just curious to know, having said the conversation or like perspective, now that we set the perspectives, we move to the, I would say, the juicy or meaty part of the conversation, right? So
let's go.
from your experience working in the corporate world and now working with corporate leaders as well, what would you say would be the top three problems that they normally face?
um, I would say the top three problem is a box mindset, lack
Mm-hmm,
of courage, and lack of psychological safety.
mm-hmm,
So for the first one, like oftentimes management can be trapped in their same old, right? And it's the box that we put ourselves in. And management are made of people, and people are creatures of habit. So there are lots of resistance to changes, to new paradigms, and also to new ways of thinking. Hence, like this second problem will accentuate the challenge, which is the second one is the lack of courage. So when you don't have the courage to pursue what is scary and what is necessary,
Mhm.
remember earlier I said one of the factors is shameless. So it takes courage to be shameless, right? To have the
Agree.
audacity to be the first movers in the industry, right? And to
Mhm.
inspire your people who might be as lethargic as you, or maybe even more so, to change. And you have to be that moving force to inspire them to come along with you for this change, to be the first mover. So you, as the leader, you have to be the change, not your people. You have to set the example. And the third one is the psychological safety piece. So this is a
Mhm.
huge one, and positive organizational change and leadership, because there is a lot of room for improvement and development at the moment in most corporate settings. Most
Mhm.
people are still not embracing, positive psychology when it comes to cultural change.
Mhm.
But psychological safety equates to trust, and trust is everything. Without psychological safety, we don't trust one another. No one
Mhm.
speaks the truth. There is no authenticity. There is no real feedback. When you ask for feedback, there is also no safe space for creativity, which means allowing room to make mistakes. Nobody dares to make mistakes. No mistakes, no creativity, no innovation, right? So
True.
people need to feel safe in order to be able to explore, let their imagination go wild, and push the boundaries so that you can have new innovate new innovation, new features,
Mhm.
new products. So your people need to feel a deep sense of psychological safety to live in the new extraordinary instead of
Mhm.
being in the new normal. But you as a leader, how are you enabling them to do that? How are you enabling them to live in the new extraordinary instead of being in the new normal? Or are you actually forcing them because they don't have the resources or in the existing
Mhm.
culture climate to stay normal? So trust is everything. I think when you are able to adopt positive psychology tools, like having a character or prevalent strengths mindset in your culture, or using tools that promote cultural changes. For
Mhm.
example, like developing a workspace that promotes a positive mindset and culture, and a workspace that enables people to make positive and empowering behavior easier, which we call nudging in positive organizational change. So in this kind of environment, and when there's a strengths mindset, then your people feels nurtured, they feel safe, and they feel empowered. They are fearless, they are shameless, and they're creative together. So it is your job as the leader to ask yourself all the right questions. Do I have all the right tools? And am I developing the right culture so that
Mhm.
my people can live in the new extraordinary together with me?
Wow, thank you for summarizing that for us. It's really amazing how you actually explained each and every um, thing that you believe are the problems of of leaders, right? And I've been hearing a lot around, of course, the mindset, and I'm glad you actually
Mm,
mentioned that as your first, as the first problem, right? Again, we're creature of
yes.
habit, and like a lot of our thoughts, behaviors, and actions actually depends on our mindset. And I'm glad you mentioned that first, and which relates to the slide that I've also shared earlier, right? And the next one is courage. I remember I had that conversation as well with another beautiful lady, Andrea, who mentioned about uncommon courage, right? We've heard that a lot, right? When we are in that position where we are leading people, right? Sometimes we do things, or we make decisions, or we have to say things that are not very famous, or that will not make us famous to others. It's really having that courage to be able to like make difficult decisions as well,
Mm,
and to do things that are not everyone will will agree upon, right? So, and of course, like what you've said, the lack of psychological safety, which is very important. This is where, collaboration happens. This is where, like, the environment, the culture is being built when the company or the organization have psychological safety. They're able to, like, share their ideas, share their thoughts, or even the mistakes that they made, that where people can learn from, or can
Mm,
get lessons from, right? It's
yes.
and that's the reason why we need that psychological safety to be present within organizations, and even in our own homes, right? So that our children will not be afraid to say, like, the mistakes that they make, right, when they did, or to share with you their experiences, like, outside of the house, right? So
Mm.
it's really creating that psychological safety. And again, that's like a feeling that we actually create when there's love, right? Be Being open to that, right? So thank you for the thumbs up, Robert Mann. Thank you for that. And again, it's an invitation for everyone who's watching us to join us in this conversation. Ask your
Mm.
questions, or give us your takeaways from what you're hearing from Joy as well. And again, thank you for joining us live, for those who are here with us. And so, I mean, we've talked about the top three problems, and definitely we will not leave them with the problem. Uh, Definitely we will, like, somehow, I guess, let's give them some sort of um, solutions in order to um, address these problems, by sharing with them what are the important leadership capabilities or skills. Like, in your case, it's not really to have in the next normal, but to be extraordinary, or to continue to lead more effectively, right?
Well, earlier I've already mentioned the four factors, but I think
Yeah.
in addition to the four factors, this might be helpful. And again, it's all in a beingness. So, firstly, I want
Mhm.
to bring up being playful. Like,
Mhm.
I think having an open and curious mind about what's being shared, feedback from your customers, from your people. Having that open and curious mind allows like magic and possibilities to occur which might
Mhm.
otherwise not have been possible instead of like that remember the box mindset. Oh no, no, we've always done it this way, right? So having that
Mhm.
open and curious mind. And then comes the second element, again, being playful. I think without a playful spirit, that it would be difficult for us to be curious and open, right? Because when we
Mhm.
are not curious and playful, we tend to be in the frame of being judgmental and critical because
True.
it's the other part of the brain that is being activated.
Mhm.
But you want to
Mhm.
be whole brain. You want to be whole brained about
Mhm.
organizational change, your products being innovative. And the last being that I want to suggest is being um, actually not last for this a third one is being adaptable
Mhm.
because we're in a constantly changing climate and the speed that AI is developing, just that
Mhm.
alone is like
Mhm.
scary. Like I feel overwhelmed by it, right?
Mhm.
So there's so many things that is being changed, and we have more educated and more demanding customers. Can you
Mhm.
relate to that? So you as a leader, you need to be agile because wow, there's so many currents. The currents are strong. The currents are everywhere. So being adaptable is also part of the next skill that I want to suggest here. The fourth one
Mhm.
is being resilient. So, not just being able to endure whatever crisis or challenges that is arising in the present moment in the company, being able to lead and inspire your people to do the same. That means you're not the only one being resilient, you're again
Mhm.
taking them along with you. But I think that is also not enough. My favorite part about being resilient is the
Mhm.
ability to bounce forward. So, not staying
True.
put at where you are, but to become even more awesome, being even more extraordinary
Mhm.
because of what you have experienced. So, instead of being sucked back into the new normal. So, like a rubber band, if you keep stretching the rubber band, would the rubber band stay the same? The same, like No, it's impossible. So, but it's because there's pressure, there's crisis, there's hardship, there's
Mm-hmm.
tension that's being pulled. But the rubber band will never be the same again. So, so resilient is not just surviving what's happening at a moment, but realizing that you are no longer the same rubber band. You are this extraordinary rubber band, and you're longer. The length is different. You can go the extra mile. You are now this extraordinary rubber band, not this normal rubber band. To be
Mm-hmm.
able to have that kind of mindset, and to, again, it's self-love, isn't it? Like to think the best of yourself, and to
Mm-hmm.
acknowledge all your effort and everything that you've been through. So, and bringing your people along with you in this journey of beingness, right? Being in the new extraordinary. So I think the
Mm-hmm.
four skills that I would propose, in addition to the four factors that I shared earlier, is having an
Mm-hmm.
open mind, being playful, being adaptable, and being resilient.
Wow, thank you for sharing that. And now they have like quite a lot, at least eight, that they can look forward to develop as well. And again, that
Yes.
starts with mindset, having open mind and being playful, right? It's easier when you're having fun with the things that you do, right? And of
Yes.
course, like with all the changes happening, very fast paced, it's important for us to not only being adaptable, like what you've said, but also being agile to the changes that are happening, and the things that we need to change as well for ourselves and the team, right? And that requires us to be resilient, like what you've
Yes.
mentioned. And again, it's very hopeful to hear that, as like as a rubber band, when you get home, right, you don't really go back to where you came from before. It's
Yes.
really like, oh, I have additional lessons that I can actually count on, or I have
Hmm.
additional learning from this experience or this painful event that I had. But it's really like, again, bouncing back, right? And moving forward. It's always like us moving forward, thinking of that or doing that for ourselves as well and for the people around us. So I really appreciate these reminders, and that leads me to my question. What do you believe is the role of, I mean, we've been talking about learning, leadership, and transformation. So what are the role of this in thriving in the next normal, or probably an invitation for
Okay.
I guess summarize what we have been discussing in the last five questions.
Well, learning, leadership, and transformation, these are always important.
Mm-hmm.
Learning means you are alive. And
Mm-hmm.
being a leader means that you are not alone, right? And transformation means that you are not just surviving, you are
Mm-hmm.
thriving, right? So, are you doing that together with your people? Are you also allowing them to thrive together with you? And I think that this applies to everything in Mother Nature, right? Mother
Mm-hmm.
Nature, I think, is our best teacher. Living organism, humans, and organizations, it's all the same, right? It's the essence of being alive, surviving, and constantly pushing the boundaries for
Mm-hmm.
transformation. That's why we live in a new extraordinary, not the new normal.
Wow, thank you. Thank you for that reminder. And again, it's really about constantly pushing the boundaries for transformation, right? Because if you were to adapt, or if you were to be agile enough and you'd like to move forward with the things happening around you, your choice is to be able to constantly push your boundaries to transform,
Yes,
to change,
yes,
on a level where you can actually adapt and be um, be able to address all these challenges that you are facing now or and in the future. So I appreciate that summary. It's very it sounds very easy. And I hope we can keep up with that. So that leads me to my last two questions, which I often would call my Miss Universe questions. These are very
wow.
open questions, and
I need
so
to do this.
yeah, you have to do your yeah. So
Come,
these
let's
are
do it
very
together.
exactly, yeah. So these are my Miss Universe questions, and because I'm calling this Miss Universe question because these are very open questions, and I'm not sure how did you come up with, this your answers to this question? So the first one is, if you have a magic wand and can use it, what will you do with it?
Um, if I have a magic wand, then I would use the wand to create more wands for leaders who have a strong
Mhm,
moral compass and who is fierce, shameless, focused, and loveful. So we can, with these leaders,
mhm,
with their magic wand, we can
mhm,
amplify the goodness that is in the world.
mhm,
Imagine if all such leaders have a magic wand, what a
mhm,
magical world we will live in.
mhm. Wow, thank you. And I mean, based on the work that you do, I'm sure you already are creating and empowering leaders to be fierce, to be focused, to be more shameless and loveful in what they do, right? So I appreciate the work that you do, and I look forward to, being able to collaborate again to help more leaders, especially women, I guess, to be more fierce, to be more focused, to be shameless, and to be loveful as a
Yes.
leader, in their own right, right? So thank
Yes.
you for that, and for the work that you do in order to, like, make that happen, with or without the magic wand. And the last question is, if you were to ask yourself a question that you can best answer, what would it be? And since you can best answer it, please feel free to answer that for us.
So my upcoming book is called "She's Made for Love: Love Agreements with Yourself for Self
Mm-hmm,
Love and Character Strength." So in alignment with that, I think every day I would want to ask myself, what is the best way to love myself today? It really is a self care question because what you need every day varies, right? And what superpowers would I be using today? What character strengths am I activating to love myself and others more?
mm-hmm,
Because I believe that the chaos that we are experiencing in today's troubled
mm-hmm,
times is
mm-hmm,
because of the lack of inner peace and self love that we are experiencing at the moment. So
mm-hmm,
when we have that inner peace and when we have a loving relationship with ourselves, and we are tapping on our superpowers, our character strengths to do all that, what kind of
mm-hmm,
a leader will you be, right? And how will you show up in the world? What kind of energy are you going to be
mm-hmm,
transmitting to the world, to your people around you? So I'm also trained in heart math, so I can assure you that the energy from the heart is contagious and is very real, right? It can be measured with scientific instruments. Have you ever
mm-hmm,
walked into the room with a room full of people that you have never met, and yet immediately you can tell something is wrong, right? That's because the energy that we are all emitting, it's real and it can be measured. So always be, as a leader, be very conscious of the energy that you're transmitting out towards your people and the
mm-hmm.
message that you are transmitting to your organization with your energy. So lead from a place of self-love and inner peace and let your people feel and follow.
Wow, I really love that message and that question that you just asked yourself. And that reminds me of this presentation I've shared previously, if I may share that again. Like, because I think that's what we are forgetting as a leader, especially in the space of the corporate world, where, we tend to box people into like their designation. He's the accountant, he's the marketing person, or whatnot. And it's really a reminder for them to be more mindful of that, he might be an accountant, or he might be an engineer, he might be a service provider, or she might be one, but to the eyes of their children, she's important because she's their mom. She's
Mm,
also a friend, she's also a family, she's a daughter, she could be the world to someone else, right? And
mm,
so it's really like reminding everyone not only to have that love for yourself, but also to the people that around you, because again, like what you mentioned, whatever energy they have, they emit that to the rest of the people. And
mm.
it's we about humanizing the way we work, right? And
Yes.
that will share with us, or will show what being really is, right?
Mm. Yes.
So thank you for all those important all these important reminders. It's very loving thoughts, perspective that you have shared with us, especially this Valentine's Day. So, so with that, thank you so much for your inspiration. Thank you for this um, a conversation, this conversation full of love. And again, before we end this conversation, is there anything more that you'd like to leave our audience with?
I know that my sharing is not your typical answer that you expect, but because we're talking about, organizational change and leadership, but I just want to remind everyone we are leading people. We ourselves are people. We are not machines. We have to stop behaving like we're machines. I have to remind myself as well, so I tend to also overwork. So we are living organism that needs care, right? And when there's care, when there's love, love is the biggest the most powerful force in the world, right? I mean, that is a fact. And to share that there is such a thing called the law of resonance. And the law of resonance means that the universe does not give you what you want. The universe will reflect to you who you are, right? And I think that will be also ripple out into how your organization looks like, how your team looks like, how your family looks like, how your health looks like, right? So it's about who you are. So let's come from a place of being, and let's remember that self-care is the new superpower, right? And then we extend that self-care to caring for the people around us. Let's have an open mind. Let's play together. Let's explore. Let's allow each other to feel safe with one another. Then I think it doesn't matter whether it's an organization, it's a family, it's a village. We will thrive, and we will thrive regardless what lies ahead of us. As we human proceed to the new extraordinary.
Thank you so much for that important message once again. And I appreciate this conversation. I've taken notes while I'm interviewing you as well. So thank you for that. I need to
Thank
be
you,
reminded.
Marilyn.
I need to be reminded of this self love, self care, and like how we actually reflect the things that we have right now because of who we are. So that's a really important message. So if there's anything that you are experiencing that you don't like, then you have to work on yourself. Right?
Yes,
So thank you for
yes,
that reminder again. And remember that even the richest investors in the world say that investing in yourself is the very best investment you can ever make to your life, and to yourself and to the people around you, in fact. So
mm,
let's do like everything that we can do to make this world a better place to live in. And with that, we would like to leave you with this quote, that if your actions create a legacy that inspires others to dream more, learn more, and do more and become more, then you
mm.
are an excellent leader. Thank you so much again, Joy. Happy
Thank you,
Valentine's Day.
Marilyn. Happy
Thank you for
Valentine's
watching
Day.
us. Happy Valentine's Day. Have a good day, everyone. Enjoy your celebration. Bye for now.